Hi, gang, it's Adam.
And Patrick.
Coming up on today's episode, we talk about Patrick's first time playing Kingdom Hearts 3 and announce the winner of our Disney Prize Pack giveaway. We cover the latest Disney news and give Oliver and Company a second look as part of our Take Two series. As always, we close out the show with some Quick D. All that and more on today's episode of Gays Do the D.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Patrick.
Hey, howdy hey, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
What's up?
It is 1 degree outside.
It's so warm.
Heat wave!
We're having a heat wave.
For those of you that don't know,
Uh-huh.
we were in the middle of a polar vortex last week.
Which sounds so fun and exciting.
Doesn't it, though?
It is not. It's painful.
It's hurty.
It's very hurty.
We were, like negative 35 here? That was like without wind chill, right? We were just like negative 35 or something like that?
Yeah, the temp was like negative 25, but the feels like was like negative 46.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Well,
we did it. We survived.
Yeah.
I came out of it with a little bit of a cold. You can probably hear it.
I like it. It's sultry.
Thank you. I'm serving some Lucille Ball at the end of her days.
With like a mucus undertone.
Yeah.
It finishes mucusy, which I enjoy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, we're above zero now.
We made it.
We've warmed up.
Yeah.
Yep, my heart's still cold, but I'm warm.
And speaking of weather,
Yas.
you're about to escape all of this madness.
I sure am.
This winter madness. And where are you going, Patrick?
A little place called Hawaii.
Everyone just shoot daggers at Patrick right now.
I know. It's when I say it to people, I'm like, I say it very sheepishly. Like, I'm going to Hawaii. It's not a big deal. Shh, let's talk about something else.
Moving along.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about it.
Sure.
So you're going to Hawaii with your family.
Yes, with my in-laws, my husband and his family. We are all going to Molokai, a little island in Hawaii.
And you're just going to, lay on the beach, have some drinks.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna have some beach time. I'm gonna pack some kites maybe and fly some kites.
Oh, I like that.
Like Mary Poppins in Hawaii. We're gonna do a little hike to a waterfall one day, some snorkeling. Should be fun. I'm excited. Never been. Have you been?
I've been once. I went to Oahu.
Ooh.
Yes.
Nice.
And it was fantastic, so I know you're going to have an amazing time.
I'm very excited. I'll tell you all about it when I'm back.
I have a mission for you while you're there.
Uh-oh. Is it a mission space?
It is a mission Mickey.
Uh-oh.
I want you to find a hidden Mickey in in nature.
Okay.
Just somewhere existing in nature. And I want you to send it to me, and then I'll put it out on our Instagram at GDTD Podcast.
I fully expect 3 turtles to just be positioned in the Mickey, and so I'm going to find that.
Yeah, and if you just grab 3 coconuts and put them together, I'm going to know that you did it.
Okay.
It has to be existing in nature.
Hands off the coconuts, boys.
And if you want to follow along on Patrick's adventures.
Yeah, you can do that. Let me look at it real quick because I never Instagram myself. It's my name. It's Patrick Kozicki, Kozicky.
Patrick, we're all very excited for you, and we can't wait to hear all about your trip when you get back.
Nobody's excited for me. Let's be honest.
We all are. We want you to have a good time.
Thank you so much.
But while you're away,
Yas,
we still need to do an episode.
We do. How are we going to do this?
We're going to invite our friend Paul, who was on episode 14 of this podcast, and he's going to be sitting in your chair as our guest co-host for next week.
So exciting. I love him. He's going to do a great job. You're never going to want me back again.
That's not true.
Well, we'll see.
He's very muscly, though.
Yeah, he's a barge of a man.
Yeah, he's tall, muscly.
Do you guys need a minute? Do you need me to leave?
It's going to be a very enjoyable episode for me, just looking across the table, being like, Paul, flex. Do it now.
Mm-hmm. And it's so horrid sitting across the table from me, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm flexing right now, can't you tell?
Your Mickey sweatshirt is popping.
Thank you so much. I felt something move. It wasn't a muscle, though. It was my lunch. My lunch was moving around.
So anyway, Paul will be on next week's episode. We're going to have a great time. We've got some great conversation lined up for you. But Patrick, have a fantastic trip.
Thank you.
And you have some other news to report.
It's not really news, I guess, but recently, for those of you who follow the Kingdom Hearts saga, the latest installation, Kingdom Hearts 3, just came out, and I have been playing it.
Now, have you played Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2?
Not at all. So it just came out for the first time, I believe, for Xbox, which is what we have.
Okay.
And my perfect husband was lovely enough to purchase it for me. So I came home from rehearsal one night and started playing Kingdom Hearts.
And give me like the basic premise of Kingdom Hearts. Like, what's going on? What's happening there?
Sure. So it's that age-old tale of light overcoming darkness.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you play a character named Sora, who, along with Donald Duck and Goofy, are going through all of these different Disney worlds to defeat the Heartless.
So me,
Yes.
basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make an appearance a couple of times. Right now I'm in Olympus, so I'm playing with Hercules and Meg and Pegasus, and we're defeating all the baddies.
And is this one of those games where you can just kind of wander around wherever you want to? Like the whole world is open to you, or are you restricted to like certain missions? Or
It's more of a mission based.
Okay.
So you have one place you're supposed to go and like release all the townspeople because they've been captured by the baddies, and you just sort of make your way through the game that way.
And how is it going for you?
It's fun.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a gamer.
Either am I.
And so this is really my speed, where it's sort of a mix between pretty easy to play and a lot of storyline, and it's beautiful, and it's Disney themed, of course. So it's perfect for someone like me who's not invested in sort of like the Halo games and all that.
Can you do 2-player on it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just a one-player game.
Well, then you just enjoy that game by yourself.
You can come over and watch. I'll pour you a cocktail, and you can watch me play.
I like that, actually.
Yeah. It's super fun. Maleficent's in it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful as well. So just watching it as sort of a story is fun in addition to playing the game.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying that, and I'm glad you're going to Hawaii. A lot of things seem to be working out for old Patrick.
Things are just perfect for me. You just recently moved into your new apartment.
I did. I wouldn't say we're all settled, but we're fairly unpacked. We still have a few boxes to go.
Uh-huh.
But it's shaping up. It's looking like a home.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
We'll see.
I'll ask Matthew to invite me over.
Okay.
So before we head over to the news, Adam, we've got a couple of announcements to make. One is that on February 8th, Disney's California Adventure will celebrate its 18th anniversary.
18 years?
18 years, opened in 2001.
Get right out of here.
I will not. I will get over there in October with you.
You will. You're going to experience DCA for the first time.
For the first time. Can't wait. So happy anniversary, California Adventure.
And our second announcement, last but not least, is our Instagram giveaway winner.
Oh, that's right.
So on last week's episode, we announced that we were going to have yet another giveaway on our Instagram at GDTD Podcast.
We sure did.
And we're giving away a Mouse Party Let's Celebrate exclusive Disney Parks collection pin, a Mickey Through the Years slap bracelet.
Slap.
And Patrick, you were nice enough to throw into the mix your 2019 Epcot International Festival of the Arts coloring book.
I'm very nice.
Featuring Figment.
That's right. It's so cute.
But we have the winner, Patrick.
Oh, tell me who it is.
The winner is, do we need to do any kind of drum roll? I feel like that's so, how about a cinnamon roll instead?
Ooh. Oh, drum. There you go.
That's good. I like it with that like low register you have because of your cold.
My Kathleen Turner drum.
I love it. The winner of that Disney prize pack giveaway is Mary_Vagara 10.
Ooh, there's something about Mary.
That's right. So congratulations, Mary. We will DM you and get your information so we can get you that prize pack ASAP.
Awesome.
Congratulations, Mary.
Congrats. Now that that's out of the way, what do you say we talk about some news?
Let's do just that. You know, Patrick.
Yes?
We don't normally report on news from international parks on the podcast.
True story.
We like to focus on the domestic parks.
We're very domesticated.
That's right. But this news story is just too gay not to report.
Oh, I'm interested.
Last week it was announced that for the first time, Disney was making 2019 Magical Pride at Disneyland Paris an official signature event on their annual calendar.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
Inspired by Gay Days, which is an unofficial event held at Disneyland Resort in California and Walt Disney World Resort in Florida, Magical Pride at Disneyland Paris first took place in 2014 and has become a very popular event and is expected to draw thousands during this year's celebration being held on June 1st, 2019.
Wow.
Now, what will happen at the first official Disney Pride event at Disneyland Paris, Patrick? What will happen?
Magic, I imagine.
Just so much magic. The Walt Disney Studios Park, which is kind of their version of Disney's Hollywood Studios, will be made private for a special Pride party from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. on June 1st.
Wow.
And the event will include access to select attractions, Disney character meet and greets, DJs and special live music performances, karaoke theater experiences.
Ooh.
That sounds interesting. What's that? Themed photo locations and the Magical March of Diversity Parade.
Oh, wow. I
They're
love
getting
that.
a diversity parade.
That's amazing.
You know, Patrick,
Yes.
if I was Carrie Bradshaw in this moment, I would say, I couldn't help but wonder, will Gay Days ever become an official event in the domestic parks? What do you think?
I think it will.
Yeah.
I think it's coming.
I mean, we had the merchandise last year, right? Like they released the rainbow ears.
Absolutely.
And they've kind of been like, it's not an official event. Wink.
Though, hard to know because they don't really do official events for groups of people. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So who can say? But they may just be more open to it. Like, they've been using the ESPN location for a lot of events.
Yeah.
Event spaces that people can sort of rent out.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily Disney sponsored. So who knows? I wish that it would. I think it would be highly marketable and profitable for them, but who can say?
Me too. I want that too.
But in the meantime, good job, Disneyland Paris.
It's a really bold move in a fantastic direction. And I'm hoping that it will kind of nudge
Yeah.
the domestic parks in that same direction.
Gay Paris indeed.
Ooh.
Beginning on March 30th, Disneyland's Napa Rose at the Grand Californian Hotel will introduce the all-new Disney Princess Breakfast Adventures.
I already have a reservation. I don't, but
We should do that.
yeah, we should do that.
I think it'd actually be really fun. Guests will enjoy a 3-course breakfast, including champagne for adults, with some of their favorite princesses. Following the breakfast, guests will move to the patio, where they will be treated by inspiring storytelling from the princesses, encouraging boys and girls of all ages to dream big. The princesses will share stories about when they felt empowered to be their true selves. The experience will end with a photo opportunity and special treasures to remember the day. What kind of treasures?
I don't know.
I want to say treasures.
I feel like everyone gets a tiara.
Okay.
Or like
Or a wand.
A scepter. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
And ever since you said we should do this, I'm kind of now obsessed with it because can you imagine attending this brunch during Gay Days?
Oh my gosh. So much tea will be spilt.
Oh, Patrick.
See what I did there?
I love it.
Or champagne thrown in each other's faces.
No, you save that because then it goes down your mouth.
That's fair. That's fair. The experience will cost $125 per guest.
Okay. Well, now I'm a little
Yeah.
on the fence.
But with champagne,
Okay.
and it's a 3-course meal.
Okay.
And you get treasure.
And you get, it sounds like a little bit more of an intimate experience with the princesses. I mean, that sounds
Yes.
inappropriate the way I said it, but like you get to get up close and personal, which also sounds inappropriate.
Nope.
Adam, just
Nope.
zip the
Zip
lip.
it. Zippity-doo-dah,
Yeah.
that lippity-doo-dah. Reservations can be made now by visiting the Disneyland Resort website.
Last week, Disney Skyliner began its initial testing of its gondola system at Walt Disney World.
So exciting.
It's happening really quickly now, it feels like. It's really moving along.
Yeah, we're kind of on the downhill slope of this now.
As we reported earlier, the state-of-the-art gondola system is scheduled to open this fall and will connect Disney's Hollywood Studios and Epcot to 4 resort hotels: Disney's Art of Animation Resort, Disney's Pop Century Resort, Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, and Disney's Riviera Resort. Several of the Skyliner's gondolas will be themed with graphics based on Disney films, attractions, and characters. Disney animated films will be represented, including Beauty and the Beast, Frozen, Lilo and Stitch, Moana, Peter Pan, The Princess and the Frog, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and Zootopia.
Never heard of any of those.
Box office failures, all of them.
Just trash.
The other themed gondolas that will be part of the system include Coco, Goofy, Pete, Horace Horsecollar, and Clarabelle Cow. Clarabelle. Finding Dory, The Haunted Mansion, Monsters, Inc., Pirates of the Caribbean, and Ratatouille.
Amazing.
The Disney Parks blog story also featured an image with gondolas themed to Toy Story, Star Wars, and Guardians of the Galaxy, but those could have just been concept art.
I wonder if they'll be able to mix them up a little bit. Like, are these just sort of wraps that will be put around the gondolas, or are they full on created to be inspired by those films?
My guess is that it's a wrap, similar to what they do to the monorail at times,
Sure.
just to kind of retheme it for certain events
Sure.
or film releases.
That would make sense, right?
Yeah, because I think if they had like a major hit on their hands, they would want to like wrap more gondola cars in that film's theming.
Yes.
So that people could get that car.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be interesting to finally experience these when they open. We were saying when we were down there, because we were seeing how quickly the construction was progressing, it's going to make being in Walt Disney World, but not necessarily being in the parks, more of an experience. Like, you're going to feel more connected to the parks while you're not in the parks, because you're going to be seeing those gondolas going back and forth across the sky.
Absolutely. And I love the stations that they're building too. They're sort of designing them to look like the environment that they exist in, which is really cool. It's a smart idea.
So it's just going to add to that experience of arriving to those parks or to your resort even.
Yeah, it'll help me know where I am at all times, because I generally have no idea where I am, including right now. As you may have heard, Black Panther recently won a few prestigious awards at the Screen Actors Guild Awards. The movie won for Outstanding Performance by a Cast in a Motion Picture, making this the first superhero movie to win this award and the highest grossing movie to win it as well.
Get it, Black Panther.
Work. The movie also won for Outstanding Action Performance by a Stunt Ensemble in a Motion Picture.
I don't recall a lot of action in that film. Wasn't it a very domestic, heavy drama?
It was very My Dinner with Andre kind of a film. Yeah. In celebration of the movie's success and in celebration of Black History Month, Bob Iger announced that Black Panther will be returning to 250 participating AMC theaters from February 1st, so right now, through the 7th. So if you haven't seen it, big mistake.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. I have to go shopping now. Pretty Woman? Anyone? Nope. And now you can see it in theaters at AMC. Additionally, the Walt Disney Company will be making a $1.5 million donation to the United Negro College Fund to benefit its mission of providing education for minorities.
I love it. It's money to a fantastic cause, and we get to see Michael B. Jordan shirtless on screen, on the big screen.
On the big screen.
Again.
Oh, now I'm there right now in my head, just picturing him.
There he is.
Hi. To learn more about the United Negro College Fund, you can visit uncf.org, and you can go online to the AMC Theater's website to purchase tickets.
Registration is now open for VI Pass Holder nights at Walt Disney World.
Ooh, that's a tricky one to say.
It is VI Pass Holder.
I can see your VI Pass holder right now.
Walt Disney World is once again offering Gold, Platinum, Platinum Plus, and Premier Pass holders special evenings at Magic Kingdom and Epcot, in which they get to spend 2 extra hours in the park after closing.
Fun.
Select attractions, character greetings, shops, and dining will stay open for the events. The Magic Kingdom VI Pass Holder Night is Tuesday, February 26th from 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. The Epcot VI Pass Holder Night is Thursday, March 21st from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. These events are free to pass holders, though you must register in advance. Pass holders may only register for one of the 2 events, and a valid Walt Disney World annual pass card and valid photo ID is required at check-in. Registration is available on a first-come, first-served basis. You may register up to 3 other Gold, Platinum, Platinum Plus, or Premier Pass holders linked in your friends and family list to share the fun.
Can they bring someone who is not a VI Pass holder? Hashtag asking for a friend.
I don't think that's the case, sadly.
Ugh, fine.
How do you feel like maybe dressing up as a pass holder? I'm not saying steal their identity so much, but I'm just saying just assume a costume, assume a role. It'd be the greatest role you ever played.
Yeah,
Walt
absolutely.
Disney World pass holder. And just walk into that event as that pass holder.
Just bring my big old VI Pass into that park.
You'd be such a VI pass hole if you did that.
On January 26th, over 300 volunteers, including Disneyland cast members and the Anaheim Family YMCA, joined Kaboom to build an accessible playground for children with disabilities. The project took them only 6 hours to complete. The new playground is the 11th one sponsored by Disney in partnership with Kaboom in Anaheim, and it is the first ramped playground in Anaheim for children with disabilities. The new space features equipment that will allow children of all abilities to play together, including a Unity spinner, which is basically like a merry-go-round, with seat belts for wheelchairs, accessible swings, a teeter-totter that includes a feature that helps children with wheelchairs the ability to transfer on and off, and braille panels throughout the park for the visually impaired children.
This is blowing my mind. What an incredible
It's
thing.
incredible, but also I can't believe that this hasn't been done before.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, we waited this long, but well done. Well done.
Yeah.
A quote from Disneyland Resort President Josh D'Amaro: "This event is a great example of why all of us at the Disneyland Resort are so proud to call Anaheim home. The collaboration between nonprofit organizations, the city of Anaheim, the Disneyland Resort, and local residents is truly inspiring."
I feel inspired
Absolutely. I mean, again, Disney, you're just hitting it out of the park.
by getting out of the park and volunteering. The mother of all VIP tours is now being offered at Walt Disney World Resort.
Mother may I.
The World of Dreams tour is a 12-hour tour in which 6 guests receive, get ready for this list, backstage access and transportation,
Yes.
front-of-the-line attraction access,
Work.
a tour of the Cinderella Castle Dream Suite,
Fancy.
just a tour, you don't get to stay overnight,
Oh.
exclusive nighttime spectacular viewing spaces,
Mm.
all meals included, 3 a day with select alcohol.
Ooh.
It's in quotes. I don't know why alcohol's in quotes.
Beer and wine.
Wine and beer, yeah.
Yeah.
Access to any restaurant at Walt Disney World, no normal reservations needed,
What?
and many more possibilities based on the guest's request. The tour comes with 2 tour guides for 6 people for some reason, and the cost is
Oh, $5.
maybe a little higher.
$7.50.
Okay, you clearly have never been to any Walt Disney World experience.
Okay, how much is it?
$12,000.
Oh, God.
So it's $1,000 an hour
I just threw up in my mouth.
for 6 people
Yeah.
to have this incredible experience.
Okay. That's reasonable.
I'll tell you what, Patrick, I'm going to sweeten the pot for you.
Oh, please do.
Each additional day after that first day
Okay.
is only $10,000 a day.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. This sounds incredible, and only 6 people in the world can do it.
I bet, Patrick, with the opening of Galaxy's Edge, we're going to see people biting on this because they're going to get front of line of access to those rides.
Yeah, it's a smart idea for sure, but oh boy.
It's not necessarily for our level of class in this society,
It's about 7 levels above mine.
but I would imagine we're going to be seeing a lot of people jumping at this.
For sure. I don't mean to sound negative by any
Right,
stretch of the imagination, but I don't love it when there's such a big divide
Right.
between economics.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
And this feels like, hey, look at this, you can do this, but only if you're very rich.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
So maybe they'll do some giveaways every once in a while with that.
That's a great suggestion.
Thank you.
The World of Dreams tour is available to book now, but requires booking a week in advance to set up all of the more special opportunities. The World of Dreams tour is not currently listed on the Walt Disney World website, or at least I couldn't find it under the VIP tours. So for more information and reservations, contact the private VIP tour phone line at 407-560-4033.
And you can contact me on Instagram if you want to bring me with you.
That's right, you know your handle now.
I finally know my own name. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Patrick.
Since it's been so cold lately,
Yes.
it's been the perfect time to snuggle up with a movie.
Yeah,
And we thought, why don't we do another Take 2 episode?
we did think that.
We did think that.
Since we're trapped in our homes and have nowhere else
Absolutely.
to go.
Stuck with just a bottle of wine and some movies.
Is that your life?
Mhm.
Okay.
It doesn't need to be cold for me to do that. No, we were going to do Sleeping Beauty because it just had an anniversary.
Yes.
But we decided
Yeah.
to instead do a whimsical little film called Oliver and Company.
You know, we've been talking about it for a while. It keeps popping up
It does.
in some of our episodes.
Yeah.
And it just seems like the universe The secret has been
Yeah.
whispering to us and telling us that we need to do Oliver and Company as a take two.
Yeah, it was on our vision boards
Yep.
for a while,
Yep.
and now we can take it off because we've seen it again.
And I have to say, I don't think I've seen this, honestly,
Yeah.
since I saw it in the theater as a tyke.
It's one of those movies that no one really knows about anymore because it's not heavily merchandised anymore. It's not marketed by Disney. They don't really talk about it much. And so you'd be hard pressed to know this off the top of your head.
Yeah.
And it was very nostalgic for me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a time capsule of a movie
Yes.
to take you right back to the late 80s, watch Oliver and Company immediately.
Yeah, it was like my childhood in a nutshell. Like all of my preteen years came flooding back to me when I watched that.
And let me just say, as I sat there watching this movie, I realized that I knew more based on the McDonald's marketing from this movie than I actually remembered watching the movie in the theater.
Yeah.
And I guess part of it, too, could have been because it was re-released in 1996. So it first came out in 1988, we should say.
Yes.
And it was re-released in 1996. And that's when Burger King kind of took over the promotional merchandising of it.
Yeah.
And some of the lines from the movie and some of the things that happened in the movie I recalled, but only from the marketing campaigns from McDonald's and Burger King.
Absolutely, absolutely. It made me wonder because there's the little, we can get into this more later, but there's a little Chihuahua.
Yeah.
And it made me wonder if if Taco Bell took that Chihuahua. Remember when they had the Yo Quiero Taco Bell?
Yeah.
Because it seemed like that would have been around that time.
Oh,
that,
yeah, good point.
That was sort of, I don't know.
They just stole it from Disney.
Maybe. Maybe. I'm not saying they did, but they did. So let's get into some specs about the movie before we get into some more detail. What do you say?
Let's do that.
So as you said, it was released in 1988 on November 18th, which coincidentally was the 60th anniversary of Steamboat Willie.
And do you know what else was released on that date, Patrick?
I do. Timbo, tell us.
The Land Before Time.
Absolutely.
The Don Bluth film. Man, talk about two animation giants coming out just like, we're going to battle it out in the box office.
And I'll tell you what, The Land Before Time won for me because I went and saw that movie on my birthday. I got to choose which movie I wanted to see.
That's cute.
And I chose The Land Before Time.
Did you end up just sobbing in your seat when Littlefoot's mother just happened to, spoiler alert, pass away?
Oh, I cried like the baby that I actually was.
Yeah.
I still cry. I cry thinking about that movie.
Oh.
But enough about The Land Before Time. We're here to talk about Oliver and Company. So this is the 27th Disney animated feature film, and it is based on the Charles Dickens novel Oliver Twist. But this time, it is set in New York City instead of London.
That's right. They modernized it and they made it grittier. And, well, I don't know about grittier because I feel like everyone in Oliver Twist had tuberculosis for sure.
Yes. This was more of a New York gritty instead. It's also the first animated feature to begin production under Michael Eisner and Jeffrey Katzenberg.
How about that?
There's a lot of milestones for this movie. As I was doing some research, it is set in a period of time that Disney was just about to go through its Renaissance phase, right?
Just a giant time of transition for the company.
Absolutely. And this movie, I feel like, kind of is right in the middle between classic movies and the Renaissance period.
It sure is. It exists in its own time and space.
Absolutely. That and The Black Cauldron, which came out the year before.
That's right.
They're both sort of a, what happened here kind of a time period.
And The Black Cauldron was not a success. We can just say that.
No, it wasn't.
And so when Eisner and Katzenberg came in, they were like, we got to fix this. And they held like a pitch meeting.
Yeah.
And they were like, we need ideas. And actually at that pitch meeting was pitched The Little Mermaid.
Yes.
But what went out for the next movie in production was an animal's take on Oliver Twist.
Absolutely. And it was originally titled Oliver and Dodger, I believe.
Right,
and then they changed it over to Oliver and Company.
It was directed by George Scribner, who was an animator on The Black Cauldron.
That's right.
And he went on to direct the short The Prince and the Pauper.
I love that one.
And Mickey's PhilharMagic at Walt Disney World.
One of my favorites.
The supervising animators for the film were names that everyone's going to recognize: Glenn Keane, Ruben A. Aquino, Mike Gabriel, Hendel Butoy, and I apologize if I'm not pronouncing that correctly because I don't recognize that one, and Mark Henn.
Absolutely.
The movie spent 2.5 years in production, and a team of over 300 artists and technicians worked on the movie.
And this team was sort of the next generation of the 9 old men who were all retiring at this time. So they needed a new team of animators, and these are the folks who made the cut.
That's right. I mean, going back to the idea of transition, this is like Saved by the Bell, the new class, if you will. That was the show, right? Saved by the Bell, the new class?
Yeah. let's talk about the cast a little bit.
Let's do that.
Some heavy hitters in this cast.
And I had no idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew one of them.
Yes.
One of them is like a standout. But like
Yeah.
some of the names that are about to get dropped on this podcast, I was shocked when I learned that was the person voicing that character.
Well, first off,
Yeah.
Joey Lawrence
Yes.
was Oliver.
Did you know that before you started researching this?
Whoa.
Whoa, Blossom. Whoa.
I did not know that. I had no idea that he would have been that young at that time, but I guess we are kind of the same age as Joey Lawrence, aren't we?
Are we?
Apparently.
Ugh. I don't know whether I should feel good about that or bad about that.
I feel good about it. He's
Okay.
fine.
Yeah, he's still very good looking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he was Oliver,
Yeah.
the lead of the movie,
Yes.
a ginger.
Yes.
And I would just like to take this moment to say that he was not selected as a kitten out of that box of kittens at the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And as a ginger, I am offended.
Yeah.
I feel like gingers have come a long way since then. Like we're more accepted now.
Yeah.
In fact, even maybe coveted.
Fair.
But back in 1988, gingers not wanted.
Get out of here. Scram. So yeah, Oliver is the cat in a company of dogs.
Also in the cast, Billy Joel as Dodger.
Mm-hmm.
Now, did you know that he voiced Dodger? I knew that he sang for Dodger,
I did know that.
but I didn't know that he actually voiced Dodger throughout the entire movie.
He did. I believe this is his one and only acting credit.
And Dodger's a kind of a terrier mix
Mm-hmm.
in the movie. And I gotta say, there are times in this movie when Billy Joel is so cool voicing Dodger that I can barely hear him on the screen. Did you experience that too? He's like, hey, cat, how do you? And I'm like, what? What did Dodger just say? I have no idea.
Well, like I said, it's his one and only credit for acting.
Good point. They didn't bring him back.
No. Cheech Marin voiced Tito, the little chihuahua in the movie, who you may recognize as Azizi the hyena from The Lion King.
Do you know what else is crazy is that I didn't even make that connection until you just said it.
Oh, really?
Like not even during research did I like make that connection.
He has such a distinct voice.
And he has the one line that was tied to all marketing campaigns for food, merchandising, which was, if this is torture, chain me to the wall.
Yep, that was on so many T-shirts.
So many commercials,
Yeah.
just like constant.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Mulligan played Einstein, the Great Dane, and you may remember him as Dr. Harry Weston from Empty Nest.
That's right, if you're as old as we are.
Yeah, we're old.
That was a spin-off of The Golden Girls, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, he
Yeah.
was their neighbor.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I, for some reason, connect it to Elf. Was Elf and Empty Nest, was that on at the same time? Or like
I
on
don't
the same
know.
night?
I can't imagine that Oliver watched Elf because Elf ate cats.
Oh,
Remember?
yes.
We're going down a rabbit hole here.
Next up, we have Roscoe Lee Brown as Francis, a bulldog. And everybody, speaking of being old, Patrick, everybody's going to remember Roscoe Lee Brown from The Cosby Show and A Different World, where he played Dr. Barnabas Foster.
Yes, I do actually remember that.
I do too. He actually won an Emmy for Outstanding Guest Performer on The Cosby Show playing that character.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Good for
And
him.
I got to say, he's fantastic as Francis, too. I just love Francis.
Yeah, it's a really cute character. Moving on to a role that confuses me a little bit, and I'll tell you why in a second. So Cheryl Lee Ralph voiced Rita, the dog, who you may know. She's a fantastic singer. She was the original Dina in Dreamgirls on Broadway, but she did not do the singing voice for the dog. Why?
I have no idea.
Instead, they got Ruth Pointer of the Pointer Sisters to do the singing voice, and they do not sound alike at all.
The only thing I can think of is that they were going for like more of a pop sound or like
Right.
because they had Billy Joel and they
Yeah.
had Huey Lewis, and which we'll get to later. But
Yeah.
that's the only thing I like. Why?
It was such an odd choice when you have this phenomenal Tony-nominated singer,
Yeah,
and you don't use her.
yeah.
Weird.
Also, she played Lauryn Hill's mom in Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit.
That's correct. That's correct. Oh, she was mean in that movie.
She was not having it in that movie.
No,
She came around though.
she sure did.
Joyful, joyful, Lord, we adore thee.
Is this your audition for the TV show?
I'm gonna make it.
You are. I believe in you.
Also in the voice cast, we have Dom DeLuise as Fagin.
That's right.
And this is interesting because Dom DeLuise was a huge voice actor for Don Bluth, both physically and in the amount of voice work that he produced for Don Bluth.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because he was in The Secret of Nim, An American Tale,
Yeah.
A Troll in Central Park, which I never saw, and All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah, he was one of the main characters in All Dogs Go to Heaven, and which came out the year after this movie, so it was interesting that he did two pretty big movies right in a row.
Did he ever leave a voice recording studio during the 80s or late 80s and early 90s? He was just in it
He did
the
not.
entire
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
He left to make Cannonball Run 2, came back, did more voice work, left to do Haunted Honeymoon. Have you ever seen Haunted Honeymoon?
No.
Okay, that was like a staple for slumber parties in Little Adam's life. Haunted Honeymoon. Check it out if you've never seen it. It's delightful. Gene Wilder, Gilda Radner,
Oh.
Dom DeLuise. It's like an incredible cast. I always thought it was a Mel Brooks film, but it's not. But anyway, Haunted Honeymoon. Check it out.
See, like I said, this 80s film is bringing us way back
Yeah.
to some hidden memories that we didn't know we had.
For sure.
Moving on, we have Robert Loggia, who played Bill Sykes. You may remember him as the boss of Tom Hanks in the movie Big.
Robert Loggia. He has that voice that's just so gravelly.
Yeah, he's great.
When I do it, it hurts a little bit. Robert Loggia.
He can play the enormous piano with his feet so well.
He can do that so well. Voicing the role of Jenny in Oliver and Company was Natalie Gregory. And Natalie Gregory
Oh.
was the star of one of my favorite films as a child,
Oh, gosh.
made for television film called Alice in Wonderland. CBS produced it and aired it.
Oh, boy.
Magic.
Oh, no.
I mean, that movie
It was terrifying.
had every single 1980s celebrity in it.
Yeah.
Carol Channing.
Carol Channing.
Anne Gillian, Stephen Edie Gourmet, Patrick Duffy was in it.
He was?
Yes, he was the goat on the train.
Oh,
eating,
my gosh.
The newspapers.
Oh, dear.
Lloyd Bridges played the White Knight.
Oh, my gosh, that's right. Wow.
All-star cast.
All-star cast in a train wreck of a movie.
No, it was so good. Jam
it?
tomorrow, jam yesterday.
Was it?
But never jam today.
You and I had very different experiences with that movie. It frightened me so much.
Were you scared of the Jabberwocky? Was that what you were scared of?
No, I think I was just scared of everything of that movie.
It was just
that
too
movie.
confusing for you?
The costumes and the makeup were so weird.
Yeah.
It was so over the top that it was just
Yes.
like, this is aesthetically not my cup of tea.
And yet Alice in Wonderland is your cup of tea, so I thought you'd be
Yeah.
all over it.
Not at all. I think maybe it's because I like the Disney version so
Sure.
much that
Sure.
this was just like, what is this trash?
Well, I loved it, and you're wrong to think that it was trash.
That's fair. It is closer to what the book actually is, but it's still garbage.
Natalie Gregory also appeared as Annie in Cranium Command at Epcot.
Ooh,
Yeah.
good for her.
But she did not sing the role.
Of course not.
The role was sung by, oh man, I'm going to butcher this.
Okay.
Mai Han Tron?
Sure.
I feel like that's close enough.
Okay.
Yeah. But she sang the role of Jenny, and Natalie Gregory provided the speaking voice for Jenny.
Someone who did get to sing the role that she played is Bette Midler as Georgette the Poodle.
Oh, Bette Midler.
I mean,
On a Midler scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most Midler you can possibly be,
yeah.
I feel like she's had an 8 or 9 in this role.
Yeah, she's feeling herself in this movie.
There's a lot of like when she's singing, there's a lot of like she's like really selling it.
Yeah,
Like,
she's auditioning for Gypsy in this
Yeah,
movie.
yeah,
for
absolutely.
sure. But she was very funny though. I liked her in this movie. Winston. She says Winston.
She does say that. You're right.
I love it. It's really cute.
Do you know what else I realized? This is getting off topic because we're talking about the cast, but did you notice that they don't really bark? They just say bark. They're like, bark,
Yes.
bark.
Yeah. Which is really funny
Yeah,
to me,
I love it.
actually. And she of all the actors in the movie, I felt like did the best job at sort of speaking in a dog's cadence. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So every once in a while, she would like go into a little bit of a howl or a little bit of a snap, like
Yeah.
a dog would.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it.
And rounding out the vocal cast,
Mhm.
we have Frank Welker, who plays Old Louie the hot dog vendor,
That's right.
and who everyone is going to be shocked to learn also voices Fred from Scooby-Doo.
Such a weird twist. Like what?
Yeah.
It's a real Scooby Doo twist. Actually,
It is.
He should have
Jinkies.
he should have pulled his mask off, and it would have been Fred underneath.
I love that. He also has voiced Scooby-Doo since 2002.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Good for him.
And people may also know his voice as Megatron in the Transformers franchise.
Obviously,
And he voices Nibbler on Futurama.
of course.
Yeah.
Wow. He gets around.
And what a range.
Yeah, those are all very, very distinct and different voices.
Yeah, just incredible.
You would never know. We broke the news here on Gays Do the D.
No one knew before. It was just us and Wikipedia.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the music in the movie. What do you say?
Let's do that, because this is a musical.
Yeah.
But is it a musical? I mean, there's musical numbers that the dogs and cats sing.
Yes.
There's also that kind of like atmospheric vocal track, similar to what we heard in like Lilo and Stitch almost, where it's like songs that provide or further the story, I should say.
Sure.
As opposed to being sung by characters in the movie.
Yeah, it's a really unorthodox musical for Disney.
And one that Jeffrey Katzenberg kind of pitched, right? Like he wanted pop singers of the day to perform most of the songs. And he wanted this kind of varied menagerie, is that the right word, of pop singers to write and produce the songs for the movie.
Yes, which we can talk about a little bit more, but to me sort of didn't work as well because the music didn't really match up to any of the other music. Do you know what I mean?
There wasn't a specific style to the entire...
Yeah, there was no real through line for the music.
That makes sense.
So we can first talk about the instrumental score, maybe, and then move on to the actual songs.
Sure.
So the instrumental score was done by J.A.C. Redford, who scored quite a few movies and a lot of TV. He did Mighty Ducks 2 and 3. He did some of the scoring for Newsies. And then, like I said, lots of TV, including Saint Elsewhere, Murder, She Wrote, and everyone's favorite, Coach.
Yeah, is it? I got real excited when you said Murder, She Wrote, though.
But the tie into Disney there would be Craig T. Nelson, Coach, Incredibles.
Right.
There you go.
J.A.C. Redford, who I could not point out on the street if he walked by, or she walked by. I don't know if it's a man or a woman.
That's honestly a really good point.
But I have to say, he or she really nailed that late 80s sound of a synthesizer bell, perhaps. There's a lot of that, like, ding, 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 and then kind of like a rock score underneath it in this movie, and that takes you back.
It was a little like we were watching a TV show instead sometimes, where like those transitions happen.
Which I both loved and was a little bit turned off by.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to take it, really.
The music just did not fit very well in this movie. It just didn't. There were a couple of good songs, but through and through, my opinion was like, you missed. You missed on the music here.
I totally get it. I totally agree. And I think even within the good songs, there are some good moments.
Yeah.
But not every song is completely memorable.
No.
Or will stand the test of time. I mean, it clearly hasn't.
Right.
Already.
Yeah.
So opening the movie, we have Once Upon a Time in New York City, as sung by Huey Lewis, and it was written by Barry Mann and Howard Ashman.
Yeah.
Howard Ashman, we know that name.
This was the first time he actually wrote a song for Disney. And he stayed, luckily.
I was going to say,
they kept him.
I hope his career goes somewhere after this.
It's a cute song. It doesn't necessarily fit, again, with the movie. It's just sort of a song that I'd rather hear on the radio.
It's like exposition, right? It's like, we're in New York City.
Yes.
Things are gritty. It's not so pretty.
Oh.
Times are
surely gonna go down.
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we probably have the most famous song in the movie, right?
Sure.
Despite Bette Midler's song, which she probably is like, my song's the most famous song. I don't know why I went into Katharine Hepburn there, but she's like,
it worked.
My song is the most famous song, which is Why Should I Worry, which is sung by Billy Joel.
Yes.
And it was written by Dan Hartman and Charlie Midnight. Charlie Midnight.
I love that. That's a radio host right there.
And this is the one, again, we saw a lot of this in the marketing campaigns for McDonald's and Burger King. Why should I worry?
Yeah. That song has lasted. I see it on a lot of Disney soundtracks. It was nominated for a Golden Globe.
It was, yeah.
It did not win.
It did not.
It was beat out by Let the River Run from Working Girl.
I love Let the River Run.
I know. This movie actually reminds me a lot of Working Girl for some reason.
I have been saying for years that Working Girl needs to be a musical.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're actually turning it into a musical now.
It is. It's happening.
Oh,
yeah.
I hope they do a good job with it because I love that movie and I love that song.
Yeah, it's good. But it also tied, though. This was, I think, the first time Best Original Song tied for a Golden Globe with Two Hearts from the movie Buster.
Nope.
Yep, no one remembers that one.
Nope.
We should have just gone with the one. But what are you going to do?
The soundtrack also includes the song Streets of Gold as performed by Ruth Pointer.
Yes, as we talked about earlier.
Yes. And it was written by Dean Pitchford and Tom Snow.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Perfect Isn't Easy, performed by Bette Midler. And it was written by Barry Manilow and Jack Feldman and Bruce Sussman.
That's right.
And that totally makes sense because Barry Manilow was a longtime collaborator with Bette Midler before she kind of broke out.
Yeah.
I think they used to perform in gay bathhouses together. Or is that just like, I'm serious. I think they did. Or is that just like an urban legend? I'm not really sure. But I swear I saw an interview one time where she said that like there would be like these showrooms in the bathhouses.
Wow.
And she would perform there.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
Yeah, this song was very clearly written for Bette Midler to sing it.
It's very showy. It's
Yeah.
very over the top. It's
Yeah.
very dramatic, melodramatic.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Good Company, which was performed, as I said, by Maihan Tran, if I'm even pronouncing it the same way as I did earlier. And it was written by Ron Roca and Robert Minkoff.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a songlet
Yeah.
in the movie. It's not really a full production necessarily.
Yeah. I mean, Jenny's playing the piano and she's singing along. But what I love is what this song transitions into, which is that great montage of Jenny and Oliver spending time together. Like, that's super cute.
Yes.
And the song's playing underneath it. And I think that's adorable.
Yeah, you go through what feels like 3 years in 1 second.
They get real close.
Uh-huh.
But as we said, overall, the music, not necessarily particularly memorable.
Yeah.
And definitely not cohesive, right?
Yeah, it's strangely, for a Disney musical, the music is not what stands out in this movie.
That's a really good point, Patrick.
You know?
Yeah.
What does, I think, stand out is the interesting animation in the movie.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Yeah. How do you start? So the background
Yeah.
paintings are very, very loosely New York.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yep, you're right.
It's almost like you're seeing a chalk outline of New York as opposed to very detailed drawings that you're used to seeing in a Disney movie.
Almost like chalk mixed with watercolor, right? Like
Yeah.
very kind of blurred or not very precise.
Yeah. It's like charcoal that someone has sprayed with water.
Exactly. And they had used architectural renderings of New York City as a guide for those, but then they clearly kind of went their own way with them and took a completely kind of more impressionistic view of the city as opposed to a literal view of the city.
Yeah.
But
for
one thing
sure.
that does come across in the city is the kind of dirt and the grit and
Yes.
the film that's on the city,
Yeah.
which surprised me. I didn't remember that. And they do kind of go there with it. It doesn't have this pristine, clean look like of a lot of Disney films. It is gritty.
Yeah. And even a lot of the people, it was very 80s in the sense that, like, they were not afraid to show that, like, people of all sizes were in this movie. It was a
Yeah.
very, like, over-embellished kind of animation.
Yeah.
Where everything was very round. There weren't very many angles in it. It was just, like, balloonish. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it definitely, as you said, embraced the time period. Like, I
Yes.
just could not get over in that opening sequence when Oliver isn't adopted and he experiences that gentleman walking down the street listening to a boombox.
Yes.
And you just see the guy's feet, right?
Yeah.
In the boombox.
Yeah.
And it's like he's wearing Zubas or some kind of wind
Yeah.
pant and high tops.
Mm-hmm.
And he's dancing to that kind of, I don't know if it's rap or like R&B or what's going on, you know, but it's like
Yeah.
hip hop.
Yeah.
And Oliver gets into it. And that moment is just like, this is clearly from
Yes.
1988.
Absolutely. This movie did not stand the test of time necessarily.
No.
It's very stuck in the 80s, which,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of nostalgic that way, which is cute.
Yeah.
Interestingly, this is the first Disney film to have its own department set up for the purpose of generating computer animation.
Yes. And those moments truly stand out in this movie.
For sure.
Like the first moment that just immediately comes to mind is the first time you see Sykes' car
Uh-huh.
and it kind of, the camera
Pans
kind of
around
pans
it.
around it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this has got to have been groundbreaking technology at the time. Because
Yes.
I can't remember seeing anything like that before in a Disney movie.
That's right. And there was a couple of moments where, like, you're at a skyscraper level and then it zooms down, and they
Yeah.
used it for that as well.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting, pretty groundbreaking for them.
And the entire end shake sequence is just like entirely, the backgrounds are entirely computer animated. Like it's just like a constant
Yeah.
computer cacophony.
For sure, for sure. Something else interesting is they used a technique that they used in Lady and the Tramp, where they went into New York and they took photos about 18 inches off the ground of
Yeah.
New York to give the animators sort of a dog's eye view of the city.
That's a really good point, Patrick. In fact, I didn't realize that, but you are very aware of being at people's ankle height or knee height in this movie.
I didn't remember that from
Either
the first.
did I.
Yeah.
Either did I. And also, I want to point out, too, is how the animal characters, do not speak when they're being spoken to by a human.
Yes.
So there very much is a separation between the animals talking and then the humans talking. Those two worlds don't really mesh vocally.
That's absolutely right. Yeah, it's an interesting technique, and it worked. I think it kept us in the world of being an animal. It was almost like, as an audience member, you were one of the dogs.
And if you think about it, they really set you up for that fact early on in the movie. Again, going back to that point where Oliver's waiting to be adopted, and you just hear like the background noise of the city.
Yeah,
you never really hear him speak. Of course, who is he going to speak to? He's alone. But you don't hear that. You just hear like people talking. You hear the hustle and bustle of the city.
Right.
And it really sets you up for that kind of world that they're establishing. That this is the animal world. This is the human world.
It reminded me of how they did Muppet Babies, right? Where you never really saw the adults' faces or upper bodies. Yeah, absolutely. And everything was just sort of shot from just below the crib level. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
One thing that really popped out to me was the blatant use of existing logos from other companies in this.
Absolutely.
The first time I was aware of it was when we saw Fagan's scooter driving by, and I think USA Today went by on a truck, and I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
Like in a Disney film? This is insane.
Yes. There's another shot, I think it's sort of a Times Square-ish shot where you see Kodak and McDonald's all advertised, just plain as could be. Diet Coke was advertised in it. It was crazy.
It was the first time that real world advertised products were included in a Disney film, and more than 30 company logos and brand names were shown in the film. As you mentioned, including Kodak, Patrick, Dr. Scholl's, Sony, Diet Coke, Tab, McDonald's, Yamaha, Ryder, and USA Today.
Yeah. Such an 80s thing to do. You know what I mean? This was sort of the time of overindulgence.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But they said they were not paid for product placement and that it would not be New York City without including that advertising everywhere.
Absolutely. It made sense, and it aesthetically made sense for the film. It was very jarring because I don't think Disney ever did that again. Did they?
I can't recall a time when they did do it again. It's very strange for just any movie or any television show because you're always used to seeing like, it's not Cheerios, it's like O-Loops, you know, like you always like hear those generic brands.
Yeah.
So whenever you see those like actual brands going by, and especially in an animated film, it just really shocked me.
It's really rare for Disney in general to be very specific about where they are as a real life location, and then to take it this step further was like, oh, this doesn't feel Disney at all.
That's a good point. Yeah, you really knew you were in New York City watching this movie.
Absolutely. Did you notice the hidden Mickey in the movie?
I did not.
Fagin has a watch, and it's a Mickey Mouse watch. He has many watches because he's selling watches, and one of them is a Mickey Mouse watch.
Oh, that's really cute.
It's super cute.
I feel so wrong saying Fagin.
Nope, we're not going there.
Okay.
Another thing that was sort of jarring to me, and this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler alert, but that's sort of what Take Two is about, is Sykes' death at the end.
Oh, yeah.
He dies hard.
He does.
He gets hit by a train.
Yeah.
And explodes in his car.
Yeah.
For a movie
and falls off a bridge.
And falls off a bridge and then drowns. For a movie that features a little kitten.
Yeah.
This was so violent.
Yeah.
And unexpected at the end of the movie. Like, there was not a lot of violence in the movie at all.
That's a good point.
There's an aggressive kidnapping that happens.
Right. And a cat scratches a dog's nose.
But he was full on killed by a train.
He was very dead.
So weird.
Yeah, and he was also smoking a stogie throughout the entire movie, too. Like, a lot of smoke.
Yeah. That green Disney smoke that they do.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, if the train didn't kill him, the lung cancer would have.
Fair enough.
But in Disney's defense,
yeah.
I guess I don't need to defend them. I actually enjoy a good animated death now and then.
Oh, okay.
I think it actually kind of grounds the movie a little bit more and like keeps it from being too childish.
Yeah.
Which is why I wanted Esmeralda to die in Hunchback of Notre Dame. Spoiler alert, she dies in the book.
Yeah.
But anyway. But Oliver Twist is not a light book, right?
No.
I mean, it's a very heavy. There are light elements, obviously, but the book itself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people associate Oliver Twist with the musical Oliver.
Of course.
Which is significantly lighter because it is just a musical.
Yeah.
But when I started watching Oliver and Company, I was questioning where the story went because I could not recall where it went. And knowing where Jenny goes in Oliver Twist, the book and the musical, I was expecting some kind of dark ending to at least one character's life. And we definitely got that with Sykes' death.
For sure. Speaking of Jenny, I read that another idea that was pitched before Oliver was a sequel to The Rescuers, because The Rescuers Down Under had not come out yet.
Okay.
And the character Jenny is very reminiscent of the character Penny. So I feel like they were sort of already storyboarding her and then put her in a different movie and changed her name.
You know, I've never seen The Rescuers Down Under, as we all know, but I know that character you're talking about and the similarities between them, just the looks.
They look exactly like, they sound their behavior is very similar.
Did you hear about any of the kind of story ideas that were pitched prior to the actual story being finalized for Oliver and Company?
I heard that it was going to be really dark.
So dark. Sykes' Doberman Pinschers, the two Doberman Pinschers, were going to murder Oliver's parents. And then Oliver was going to go like on this revenge quest to get back at them.
Yeah, that the revenge quest part of that was like, wait, what?
How is that even Oliver Twist anymore?
It's not at
all. It's
all.
not even related to that. But that was so interesting to me. And then, of course, they were like, let's dial it back.
Absolutely.
But even having done that, it's still a relatively dark movie. And just based on the fact that it's in New York, it's gritty.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Sykes' demise.
Yeah.
All of Sykes' scenes are just so dark.
They're
like,
very dark.
He's never in full light, I believe. Like, he's always like shadowed by like a lamp on a desk or like the lights from his car.
Well, this is coming off of The Black Cauldron, which is also a very dark movie.
Right.
And then, interestingly, the next movie is going to be The Little Mermaid.
Right.
Which couldn't be more bright.
I can't even associate them, Oliver and Company and The Little Mermaid, as being from the same studio. It's just like night and day difference.
And it came out the next year, right?
Yeah.
Because this is the time, I think, Katzenberg proposed, we're going to do one movie a year.
Yes.
And this is the movie that sort of kicked off that. So it's not quite in the Renaissance, but it was the catalyst for that push of movies that Disney was about to do, which is kind of what we talked about earlier. This is such an interestingly set in time movie for Disney, where it's not quite part of its well-known catalog.
If you had told me that this was a Don Bluth film, I would have been like, yep. I totally would. I totally believe that this looks like and feels like more like a Don Bluth movie.
Yeah.
Like American Tail. Think about how gritty that is.
Yes.
It feels more like that to me than it does a Disney film.
Right. Yeah, this movie fits right in with American Tail, All Dogs Go to Heaven, The Land Before Time. The animation and the feeling is very, very similar, which makes it seem less like a Disney movie.
So overall, Patrick, let's kind of sum up our feelings about watching this movie again as adults now.
For sure.
How do you feel about it?
Here's what I'll say. I remember loving this movie so much more as a kid than I do now, but I can appreciate the time period that it was produced as an adult now. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's they captured the 80s and the time they were in so specifically and so well that I felt like I was in the 80s while watching it. You know what I mean?
I mean, even Rita's hair.
Yeah.
Like Rita's hair she's a dog.
Yeah.
And it's like completely teased to heaven.
Yes.
Like 80s style.
Yeah.
It reeks of 1988.
Yeah, when everyone had just one extra accessory on them that they didn't need. You know what I mean? And you could see it too. Like it was like the animated version of Working Girl visually. Not the story.
I think you're totally right in saying that. And as I said earlier, just my association with the marketing campaign behind this movie and not necessarily the movie itself, I think speaks volumes to its lasting impact in animation history.
Yes.
I remember wanting the toys associated with this movie, the McDonald's toys. I think it was like ornaments and finger puppets. It was like what McDonald's had. And I remember when it was re-released in 1996, wanting the Burger King merchandise. Although I think I was probably a junior in high school. So Adam, grow up.
Never.
But the movie itself, although I saw it in the theater and I remember enjoying it, didn't stay with me in the way that other Disney films, even ones that were produced long before I was born, have stayed with me into my adult life.
It's a fascinating sort of time capsule in Disney's history. It's sort of, like you said before, the marketing behind it was something that I don't think they had done before, of the hard push there. They took a lot of big swings. The first, as we said, about the computer animation, first time they used advertising in the movie itself. So they took some big swings and took some risks. A lot of them did not pay off and they didn't end up using, but I think this was very showing of that they realized they needed to do something different to get back on the map.
I'm going to expand on what you just said, where it's not only a time capsule of Disney's history, but just our history as humanity, because the 80s were such an odd time.
Yes.
A time of excess, as you said.
For sure.
And a time where things were just kind of over the top and almost to a point unnecessary.
Right. Yeah.
And I also want to say that this movie is almost like a jukebox musical. It's almost like these songs existed previously before this movie existed.
Yes.
And in maybe the Bette Midler song case, maybe it did, I'm not even sure, but It's almost like that. And then they took all these songs and just crammed them into a story. They're like, what story can we just fit these songs into to make it work? You know, and that's what I feel like a lot of like the Broadway shows that come out now, they're like, it's a jukebox musical. I'm like, this is not working for me.
Yeah.
I have that same feeling about Oliver and Company.
That's fair. That's a really good point. So in short, I think we both enjoyed the movie.
I mean, I was entertained.
Yes.
But probably not in the way I should have been entertained. I was more entertained by the time period it existed in.
Yes, absolutely.
Those elements really kind of gave me a chuckle.
Yeah.
As opposed to being delighted by the story or the characters.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm actually just realizing now this movie came out a year before my husband was born.
Gross. Yeah. So I guess, yeah. And Matthew. Yeah. Yeah.
And then just to think about the very next year, as we said, The Little Mermaid comes out and changes everything for Disney.
Yeah, I mean, the jump in storytelling between these two movies is astronomical.
Yeah, I kind of want to actually watch that and then immediately watch The Little Mermaid and just to compare the vast difference in storytelling, in animation, in music production, across the board. I have to believe that they were overlapped a little bit in
for
how
sure.
they were working.
Absolutely.
And so I wonder if one team was like, oh, that's cute. Wait till you see what we're doing.
Yeah. And if you think about it, it seems like Oliver and Company would be more of the sure thing, right? And it did quite well at the box office. We should say that. It did do very well in the long run.
Huge stars in it at the time.
And it seems like that should have been the one, right?
Right.
And not a story about a singing fish who gives her voice over to an octopus. You know, I'm like that's like just bonkers, right?
Yeah.
But clearly, Little Mermaid just outshines Oliver and Company.
Yeah, in so many ways. But we should say it is still worth viewing.
Absolutely. We encourage you to watch it again if you have not seen it in a long time.
Yeah, and let us know what you think. You can email us, of course, at info@gaysdothedeed.com.
Or you can reach out to us on social media at GDTD Podcast.
I feel like I want to go watch Designing Women now.
Oh, that's good. Maybe a little Facts of Life.
Yeah, anything with big shoulder pads in it.
Family Ties.
Golden Girls. And Terms of Endearment.
No, not Terms of Endearment. Patrick.
Yas, Adam.
It is time for some Quick D.
Whee!
And this week, we're doing Quick D Classic again.
Original D.
Going back to the original D. And for those of you that don't know, Quick D Classic is when Patrick and I ask each other a question that neither of us has been privy to prior to recording. We have no idea what we are going to ask each other.
We have no idea what we're about to say.
Well, I mean, I have not told Patrick my question. He has not told me his question. And we're just going to let it flow.
Let it flow. Let it go.
Yeah. So, Patrick,
yes.
Why don't you start us off this week? Ask me your Quick D question.
Adam.
Patrick.
Much like Oliver and Company used Oliver Twist as their movie.
First of all, I'm going to stop you because this was my question, but continue.
Oh,
Go ahead. I'll come up with another one. Go ahead.
Or we can just both answer the same one. What is the next classic literature that Disney is going to use?
I'm glad you asked me this.
Yeah.
Even though this was what I was going to ask you.
Oh, weird.
I did not prepare an answer like, how would I answer this? But just going off the top of my head, clearly it's The Grapes of Wrath. Don't you feel like Disney needs to turn The Grapes of Wrath into an animated movie?
Of course they do.
Yeah. And so let's just talk about casting, okay?
Yeah. Because
I don't remember all the characters from The Grapes of Wrath, but I know it's about a family, the Jode family.
Well, there's the Grapes.
Yeah, the Grapes. Played by... We'll circle back to that.
Yep. Put a pin in those grapes.
Yeah. The grapes are played by rehydrated California raisins, even though they were not a Disney brand. That's who's going to play them. So it's about the Jode family going to California, yay. Going to California, is that how they say it? California. Because there's work out there, right? They need work.
There sure
and it's the Great
is.
Depression or the Dust Bowl, and things are just terrible.
Things are dirty and sad.
I remember, like, Joe. Is that like the name of the character, Joe?
Sure.
Okay, well, anyway. And there's Ma Jode. I remember Ma Jode, and she's up riding on a rocking chair on the truck.
Yeah.
And I think she dies, and they discover her like 2 days later, and she's dead in the chair.
Wait, really? Is that what happens?
I think so. Yeah.
I was like, wait, isn't this the beginning of the Beverly Hillbillies?
It is the same thing.
Grandma
it is the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah. I think Ma Jode was on a chair, like in the truck or in the back of the truck.
Shooting rabbits from the chair.
Yeah.
All the way there.
Yeah. I just remember one character being like, she's dead. Or like, like, oh, they all get shocked. She's dead.
This seems very Disney.
Yeah. It seems right up their alley.
Absolutely.
I mean, how would they twist it? It couldn't be that dark for Disney. So like they're going to California.
Yeah, what's the twist?
Because there's not work out there, but there are magic stones that they can collect.
Yeah.
In order to travel to another realm where the Dust Bowl and the Great Depression never happened.
Oh, okay.
And thereby regain their lives and start anew.
Yeah, that sounds perfect.
Yeah, so that feels right to me.
Mm-hmm. Is there a standout song?
There's definitely a standout song.
Yeah.
It's called Dust in My Teeth, Rocks in My Knickers. Yeah. And it's about the struggle.
Yeah.
Of having dust. I mean, we've all had sand in our teeth at one point, right? Not pleasant.
Yeah, at least twice today for me.
And who hasn't had rocks in their underwear?
I mean,
I have
at least
them.
twice today for me.
Yeah. So I think everybody could relate to that tune, but it's a happy tune.
Good.
It's like a banjo strumming, harmonica playing.
Fun.
We're traveling to California to collect the stones.
Very Splash Mountain-y.
The magical stones that will take us out of the Dust Bowl and Great Depression.
Are the magic stones in somebody's underwear?
No.
Those aren't the stones you're talking about.
No, Patrick.
Okay.
I mean, you're never supposed to say no in improvisation, but no. These are polished, beautiful.
Well, if they were in my pants, they'd be very polished. It's like a rock tumbler down there.
Whoa. You need to see a doctor immediately.
Walk it off.
Yeah.
Just walk it off.
Yeah. Hawaii will take care of that.
That's right.
So I'm ashamed to admit that, though I read it in high school, The Grapes of Wrath.
Yeah.
I barely remember any of the characters.
I think we were pretty close.
I just Ma Jode, Joe Tom Jode. The Jode family
and the Clampets.
There was a bunch of them going to California, and there's going to be songs and musicals and magic stones, and that's where we're at.
I can't wait. Coming summer 2019.
I was going to say no, probably after Frozen 2.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be looking for a real big hit after that.
Yes.
And it's definitely The Grapes of Wrath, or as it will be titled by Disney, The Grapes in Math, because it will be a learning exercise.
Yeah.
No, probably not that. Not that.
I like it.
All right, my turn.
Oh, yeah.
And again, since you stole my Quick D question, I have had to come up with this brilliant Quick D question.
It's true. Bonus points
on
for
the
you.
spot.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Oliver and Company is being remade today.
Oh, good.
And they want to include the top pop stars of the day.
Yeah.
To voice some of the characters.
For sure.
And to provide songs for the movie.
For sure.
Who are they going to be like you in the movie now?
Get over here.
Yeah.
Such a good question.
I know.
Let's go down the list. Okay, so we have Oliver.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oliver is going to be voiced by Tilda Swinton.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. She can do anything.
I feel like just doing that, they already have an Oscar nominee on their hands.
That's the only reason they cast her.
Okay.
Yeah. Dodger is going to be Tilda Swinton.
No. I mean, she can do everything, but no. Come on.
No, it's true. Okay, so we need to get a pop icon today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to be...
I know who it is.
Yeah, it's Axl Rose.
Oh.
Don't you think?
Of today? I feel like he was probably on the original list for Dodger in 1988.
That's not current anymore?
No. I think I know who it is.
Oh, who is it?
Bruno Mars.
Bruno Mars is obviously Dodger.
Yeah, I feel like Bruno Mars is Dodger.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. What about Georgette? What about the Bette Midler dog, Georgette? Who's going to play her today?
Yep. It's probably Meghan Trainor.
Oh, that's a good choice, Patrick.
Thank you so much.
I actually like that choice a lot.
Thank you so much. It was either her or Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Is that so current, Justin Bieber?
I feel like even him.
Bieber fever?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about Rita? What about the sassy dog?
Oh, yeah.
Female dog of the Rat Pack group.
Well, she's going to be voiced by...
Yeah, because it can't be the same person. This is a scenario where she's voiced by Audra McDonald, but Audra McDonald does not sing the role.
Yeah, I was going to say Gloria Estefan maybe.
Yeah.
Is going to voice her.
Yep,
because she's very current as well.
Yep.
And then she's going to be sung by Sandra Oh.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Can Sandra Oh sing?
We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
And the answer is yes.
She can.
Yeah.
I bet she has this amazing. I mean, it clearly because I recall so many roles where she's already performed as a singer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What about Fagin?
What about Fagin?
I know who it is.
You're just answering all my questions.
Well, then people
Is this
pop into my
quick
mind.
tea for you or me?
People pop into my mind. I can't help it.
Who's your fagin?
I think it's Billy Eichner.
Versus Billy Eichner.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Or is it like a kind of dirtied Jonathan Ness from Queer Eye?
Oh, I can hear that in my head. Everything's going to be so cute.
So cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, it's just a cute watch that I want to sell you.
Yeah.
Is that what he sounds like? Am I doing a good Jonathan?
I like it.
Thank you. It's cute.
What about Sykes?
Sykes, of course. Of course, Sykes.
Who's like butch enough and manly enough and scary enough to play Sykes in this generation?
Paula Poundstone.
All of your references are like just from the 1980s. Like, are you stuck there? Patrick, we need to get you back.
I have not listened to the radio since 1989. Does anyone have a radio anymore? Maybe John Goodman?
Oh, yeah, I can see John Goodman.
Okay, so it's either it's between Paula Poundstone and John Goodman.
You know, those
as
two
per usual
are constantly in the same casting room, and they're like, here we are again.
I think we have a hit on our hands.
It sounds like it. Both, I got to say, both The Grapes of Wrath and Oliver and Company 2019.
Exclamation point.
Yeah, are going to be huge box office successes for Disney, and I got to say, they need it.
Yeah.
They need the help.
And here comes a Grammy for Sandra Oh.
That will do it for this episode of Gays Do the D. Thanks for listening. Ratings and reviews are greatly appreciated and help people find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Continue the conversation after the episode on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at GDTD Podcast and on our website at gaysdothed.com. Submit your questions or show ideas to info@gaysdothed.com. Have a great week, everybody. See ya real soon.